Так, ну что ж, мы начинаем КВН. КВН. Как ведут... нет, как вымогают наркотики. Нет, как вымогают налик. Вот это с нашим копом связано. Так, ну что ж, запускаемся. Пока с загрузочки. Сейчас тихонечко. Кто-то подписался, а потом отписался. Ну, вот, бывает. Да. Ты такой подписался, а потом отписался. Так, да, мы порешали дела с автомобилем. Это ноут надо так поставить, чтобы... Опа, так. Дела с автомобилем. Поговорили с Кимом. Надо подумать. Я так не хочу пока идти к шайке.
A lorry stuck in the traffic jam. This big, heavy grad-made machine is well kept for such an old machine.
Вся картинка или моя картинка? Я себе специально потемнее сделал немножко. Я себя специально потемнее сделал.
The windows are clear. They've been recently washed. You can see a lorryman's cabin with personal belongings, stickers, insignia.
Я получу чуть-чуть опыта, это хорошо.
Fumes of heavy fuel oil waft over you, making your eyes sting. The odor mixes with cigarette residue. The driver has adorned his space with a substantial collection of peculiar paraphernalia. Proclamations about honor, strength, and purity are glued to various panels. A large metal pendant hangs from the rear view mirror. The pendant features a sun crown with wavy rays. The back end of the cabin has a small perch to sleep, large ashtrays. There are several suns and wheels sewn into the curtains.
Racist nationalist paraphernalia. Not unusual in this part of town. This is our guy. Likely, yes. This guy's proud of who he is. Drapes it all over his machine.
Понятно. Ну, немножко опыта вырубили за то, что заметили. Ну, я, видимо, стал замечать некоторые вещи после того, как добавил очко внимательности. Это полезно. Че, интересно, выбью я из него еще что-нибудь? Ой, да пошел ты. Время еще тратить. У нас время обед, грубо говоря, да? Мы можем зайти в книжный, но у меня нет денег для книжного.
This Postlavantorie mail collection box has been heavily vandalized with graffito. A closer inspection reveals 2 bullet holes in the front. A faint sticker on the side reads, RCM Emergencies Desk number 8102, with a slogan, Mankind, be vigilant.
Хороший ящик. Я погладил ящик.
The box seems happy. Eat shit pig, fucked by the coon, and St. G with a crown have been scribbled on it. Jenny is a whore, and best set mailbox also. The mail collection box seems cathartic, thankful even. So do you. You shudder. Then you swallow.
Хороший ящик.
The box seems happy.
Ну все, пойдемте. Начали общаться с предметами. Зашибись. Че, скамейка.
The worn and beaten wooden planks of the bench do not look overly comforting.
We can sit on benches after we've solved the murder. Let's go.
Так, пьяница не работает. Что? А, это эти.
This coin-operated viewer is facing southwest. Its coin slot is full of fossilized bubblegum, rendering the machine permanently inaccessible.
Маленький бедный биноклик.
The metal feels cold and wet under your palm. It looks unhygienic. A thick layer of graffito covers the lenses. You spell out the word Onug, written on the other side, with N and C scribbled backwards. That's Kuno on the lens.
Понятно.
Under the graffito, a sea of blues and greys appear. Behind the water lies a coast, studded with concrete and reeds. On it, a church on stilts. Lanky, weather-worn wooden planks. An X-shaped cross topping its tower. The church looks old and weather-worn. There are no lights in the windows. Around the large wooden building you see chunks of sea ice gathered on the beach, and a small tent set up on the ice.
Probably some kids.
Какие-то. Те самые, Ким, те самые дети.
This coin-operated viewer is facing south. The instruction manual says to insert 25 centimes and pull the handle while looking inside. Then, why place a tourist attraction in the middle of such poverty?
У меня нет денег лишних, к сожалению.
There was a revitalization project in 49. The design studio tried restoring Martinez to its pre-war glory. It didn't stick. They got as far as the street lamps and that statue on the intersection before something went sour. I suspect it was Erard's class doing. He muscled them out. It's how it usually goes around here.
Понятно. Может в скобочках сарказм это или нет?
We should have done something about the Union 10 years ago. That ship has sailed, officer.
Понятно. Ого! Ого! 2 реала с копейками. Ого, мусор. Как хорошо. Опять отверстие от пули. Понятно. Но я что-то сомневаюсь, что мы 20 реалов накопим. И чую, кажется, я буду спать на той самой скамейке. Может, в книжном тоже нужно кого-нибудь найти? Все, я понял сейчас. В какую сторону листать? А так? А так? Странно, почему я всего лишь... Ну, я типа в игре не уменьшал ничего. Я сделал поярче. Я вроде только уменьшал, ну, типа камеру. Вернее... Ну да. Я сделал поярче. Все, ништяк. Может, Ирина, вы у себя телефон выкрутили яркость? Так, ничего пока трогать не будем. Здравствуйте.
Welcome to Crime, Romance and Biographies of Famous People. My name is Plaisance.
Плезенция. Сейчас я дождусь ответа. Ответа дождусь на сообщение. А можно выйти из диалога? Жалко, нельзя так типа просто взять и уйти. Типа передумал. Хорошо, ладно. Погнали дальше.
Be welcome, and please take responsibility for the energy you bring into this space.
Что?
A golden pendant hangs around the woman's neck, in the shape of what looks like a tiny fish head trapped in amber.
Нет, деньги мы... посмотреть на
Oh
колонну.
yes, helps to have an anchor in these times. I am the proudest owner of our little shop of culture.
Она звучит зазнавшаяся леди.
She has fine-tuned her voice to find the most welcoming approach for attracting new customers. It doesn't work.
Это точно.
Annette, yes, my daughter. I hope she wasn't slacking off again with her nose in science fiction. Tell me, was she at her post doing her job like a proper girl? Wonderful. Did you talk to her? Great. On a scale of 1 to 10, how compelled were you to buy books after talking with her?
Чего?
Her opinion of her daughter depends on how well she lured you into the store.
Десяточку она... Ну, блин, я не оцениваю людей. Вот я оцениваю людей. Но только по поступкам, а не по словам. Ну нет, не всегда. Ладно, я оцениваю людей, все. Типа могу сказать десятку, чтобы она подумала, что дочь у нее офигенная. И... Но с другой стороны, если я скажу, что десятка, она подумает, ну, значит, дочь будет работать дальше.
Come now, it's not personal. It's about proper sales practices and market research. I expect an answer.
10 из 10.
My precious, her dedication brings joy to my heart. If you have children, I hope they turn out as great as my Annette.
Я считаю, что вы поступаете с ней несправедливо.
Mind your own business, sir. In our society, people don't get to tell each other how to raise their children. It's none of your or anyone's business.
Denial is the way she copes with criticism.
You must be kidding. There's nothing like that happening. Good, sir. What does a young child do with money anyway? No, I save it for her, as a fund. She's securing her financial future out there.
Slap the cuffs on her.
Наручники ее, это точно.
Such criminal behavior would not happen in more developed countries.
Those countries will realize they've raised a lazy and spoiled generation. Are we done with the jokes now?
Yes, we've had quite enough fun here. Right.
The woman before you scans the store, her shoulders rigid and tense. Every now and then, she nudges her glasses.
Cursed? Who said that? Annette? I will have a word with her. This place is not cursed. It has a robustly magnetic energy. Good for commercial activity. My business is thriving, sir.
Что-то сомневаюсь.
What in God's name is she talking about? Doesn't feel like it's thriving. Feels ghostly.
A book about cockatoos? There should be one upstairs, right next to the shelf of biographies.
Ау, извиняюсь. Книга про кокоду.
This bookstore is not strictly about crime, romance, and biographies of famous people. There's also a wide range of paranatural literature.
Нет.
Several maps have been attached to a bulletin board hidden inside the alcove. They're held up by small pins. The board has come loose from one corner. The maps look old and faded. Your eye catches a map of Insulinda, a map of Revachol, and a map of Martinez.
Я пока ничего не буду рассматривать. Это на тысячи миллионов лет. Я хочу найти
The
книгу про
plaque on the
кокоду.
shelf reads, Biographies of famous people. You see a large variety of names, none of which ring a bell.
Видимо, придется смотреть все-таки книжки. Ну-ка.
Shelves full of biographies of famous people. Whoever browsing through all the books with all their names makes your head spin. None of these seem important or relevant. It's all just vapid egoism. Suddenly, a particularly odd title catches your eye. It reads, High Speed Love, the tragic true love story of Jacob Irv and Alfie Delatraz, by one Cecilia Averbrook. High Speed Love chronicles the romance between two of the finest tip-top tourney racers in history. One of them is the madcap driver, Jacob Irv. His blonde mane graces the cover. Next to Irv's life story, you see a slim biography of an Occidental rock star called the Anti-Star. He's famous for shooting morphine into one of his eyeballs and cocaine into the other. Next to that, Revacholian radio personality Guillaume Bevy stands in front of a run-down drug den. He's a permanent fixture on Channel 8, reporting on real-life crime and ruining cops' days.
I really must insist you buy one of the books. Reading them is not for free. Do still browse, though, but not too long.
She understands she has erred against the customer and immediately corrects course.
I'm sorry, I did not mean to rush you. You are browsing. Go ahead. Take your time. Time is commerce. I would say... The Greatest Innocence. Yes, most certainly. It's an important educational tool, delving into the depths of history, religion, and their relation to inacentic power.
Какая-то эзотерическая фигня.
A very influential historical figure. But surely I don't have to tell you that. You're a law officer, and law officers have at least some education. The book is also very daring. The author aims to re-examine the universal understandings of the inacentic system, creating a fresh vantage point and a shift in the tired order of things. Perhaps for a layman, deep analysis is necessary to peel back the multi-layered meanings.
Do her words seem vague and abstract to you?
Certainly, it's prudent for a person to have at least an elementary understanding of history and society. Imagine the chaos we'd be in otherwise.
You feel like you should get this one? Definitely. It's important somehow.
Ну,
There's
я
something
понял.
personal inside.
Пока ничего покупать не могу. Где книга про птиц? Мне нужна книга про
This
птиц.
bookstore is not strictly about crime, romance, and biographies of famous people. There's also a wide range of paranatural literature. Amidst the various books, you find one written by someone named Matthias W. Dundas. It's about wholeness, unity, balance. These three things are very important to the working class mind.
Ты все про
The
коммунизм, да?
point of the book, and many others on this shelf, is to give people medicinal advice in situations where they don't have access to paid health services. It serves platitudes, while also telling everyone that traditional medicine, the kind people don't have access to, and which costs more than this book, is garbage, and would only give you cancer anyway, without even curing your cold or anything. Wholeness, unity, balance, on the other hand, can basically take care of anything. Though when it's up to your mind to heal yourself, then it's because of your mind that you're ill in the first place. The book features chapters on topics such as how to find magnesium. It even lists plants you can harvest magnesium from. How to continue drinking if you're an alcoholic who has destroyed his liver. And there's even a chapter on the ancient Seraïs tradition of using duck gallbladder preservatives to treat and prevent sexually transmitted diseases. Pre and post factum apply. Nothing worth buying. This is just mundane garbage. What's even paranatural about this? The throbbing in your head increases with every passing moment you gaze at this shelf. Suddenly, as if out of nowhere, a small green book becomes apparent. The title of it reads, Medicinal Purposes of the Pearl. The book contains very little explanation on the matter. This knowledge seems to be taken for granted. The book contains descriptions of various pseudoscientific therapies, alternative medicines, and folk remedies involving the pearl, also known as le territoire. For example, it recommends vigorously swatting one's naked body with a venik, or hand broom, made from the leafy twigs of a young birch tree from the near pearl. It is supposedly invigorating and good for the circulation. It also recommends consuming distilled spirits like vodka or whiskey that have been aged in the pearl. Readers are instructed to cover these jars in a shallow hole just inside the pearl and leave them there for 30 to 60 days, depending on the potency desired. Among other benefits, it is alleged to restore a damaged liver to perfect health.
Восстанавливает печень, алкоголь.
That seems improbable. Is it any more improbable than anything else that human beings put their faith in?
Пожалуй, я услышал достаточно, не хочу. Блин, а где... Вот тут, что ли?
These shelves are overburdened with books from the same series. You see the name Dick Mullen over and over.
Дик Маллен — это то имя вымышленного детектива, которым меня обзывали.
A couple of spook novels hide amidst all the detective books. Thrilling tales of spycraft and daring do. Crime fiction is a disgrace. An asinine misrepresentation of the physical attributes of the arduous everyday work of actual police officers. These books greatly overstate the excitement of police work, glossing over how long it takes to actually follow up on leads and eliminate dead ends. What's more, they completely ignore the psychological hardships of year after year coming into contact with people during the worst days of their lives. Not a single mention of all the stress this work creates upon the officer's family. Detective fiction just doesn't tell the truth at all. Now, would you like a list of all the books found on the shelf?
Боже, нет.
Shelves filled to the brim with crime novels featuring the supposedly stalwart Vespertine detective, Dick Mullen. A sulfur-crested cockatoo sits on the cover, its beak slightly open. It looks as if the bird is calling out the book title, From A to Zurich, a guide to a well-behaved cockatoo.
Красавчик.
Turns out that there are so many different cockatoo species, and they all have behavioral problems. You don't have behavioral problems. That's garbage. You're cool.
It's a must-have if you own a cockatoo. I've heard they're quite capricious.
Блин, украсть. Или заплатить. Я все равно не верю, что я накоплю деньги, поэтому...
Oh, a nature enthusiast. Good choice. I knew it was a good idea to keep that around.
Книгу мы почитаем потом. У меня главное, что я выполнил задание. Все. Я выполнил задание про кокоту. Так ведь? Так, мы можем сначала дойти до Джойс, а потом только. Он говорит, что тут дофига книг. Возможно, есть хорошие книги, возможно, нет. Возможно, с каких-то можно получить опыт, но с таким количеством денег никакого опыта. А какой я какоду, мы будем определять попозже. Не, я и по шансам, и по внутреннему ощущению не хотелось красть. Я же все-таки честный, добрый, правильный полицейский. Не пью, не курю, не это. Деньги прошу только в крайнем случае. Но я думаю, что если будем проходить второй раз, будем играть за супер раздолбая. Просто за сволочь последнюю, коррумпированную, наглую, злую. И вот все в таком духе. Че, я так и ничего не могу здесь разглядеть? Никаких шансов. А тут мы точно все посмотрели? А что за мужик там стоит? Мог бы быть свидетелем. Ну-ка, мужик.
You see a young man on a balcony nursing a cigarette. His eyes have been following you for a while.
Not looking for any trouble, officer. There's no trouble. I'm just speaking in a lowered voice. I don't want to be seen talking to the gendarmerie if that's okay. I just want to finish my cigarette.
Don't let him go. This could be your witness. The balcony has a great view of the whole thing.
Is it really that important?
Like a nervous cat, he keeps stealing looks at the neighboring windows.
All right, but make it quick. Once I finish this cigarette, I have to run. I can tell that you finally got him down. Thank you. It was quite a disturbing sight, even by Martinet's standards.
What were you doing last Sunday?
Oh. You already asked me that, didn't you?
Нет.
Wait, is someone else investigating the lynching?
Я точно не
No,
спрашивал.
not you. Some more muscular type.
М,
And when did you speak to this more muscular gentleman?
Last week? I don't know. Look.
м.
It'll take more than rain to bring this place back to life.
You didn't answer the question. What were you doing last Sunday?
I had a friend over. It was my Sunday friend.
Воскресный друг, понятно.
A Sunday friend. How intriguing. Makes sense. Friends are nice on Sunday. You don't have to work. You can just spend time with pals, watching rugby and drinking beer. He doesn't reply, gesturing no with his cigarette. Under the grey sky, the neighboring windows are streaked with rain.
My name? My name is Martin Martinez.
Мартин Мартинез, прикольно.
That's definitely not his real name.
No, of course not. Could you please lower your voice?
Ask him again.
And I really need to finish this cigarette.
But he hasn't left yet.
Ну чё, блин. Мгм. По кругу поспрашивать, ну, какой
My
смысл?
name?
That's def.
Да,
No,
да.
Ask him again.
Да, я
And I-
спрашивал.
But he hasn't left yet.
Короче, ничего нет.
I can
А я
What
все
were you
варианты
doing?
посмотрел.
Wait, is someone else investigating the lynching?
Ну, давайте этот вариант
No,
посмотрим.
not you two. Some more muscular type.
And when did you speak to this more muscular gentleman?
Ну, то есть
Last
ничего не
week?
меняется.
I don't know. Look.
It'll take more.
You didn't.
It was my...
Понятно.
Makes sense.
Ничего,
He doesn't
ничего.
reply.
Не можем из него получить. А,
We won't. Now, if you'll excuse me, I really need to get going.
о, внушение красное на 72. Давай, я чё зря тебя качал.
Time to bring out your secret charm. Tears and begging. Show him your emotional side. Throw yourself before his very feet like a dog.
Блин. Это какая-то истерия.
No, for God's sake, I don't want you to cry. Listen, I really have to go. Good luck with the investigation.
He's gone. No point in running. Tenements like these often have multiple exits. If he doesn't want to talk to us, then he'll know how to hide himself. He could be a witness. Him or his Sunday friend. Either way, we need to look into that muscular type who's asking about our case. There has to be a way of getting inside the building. Once we've found a way in, we can ask around for his apartment. There must be another way into the building.
У нас есть еще время
This must be
побродить.
it. The basement door is weather-worn. The copper nails holding the upholstery in place have turned green from sea air, and there's a knocker shaped like a lion's head.
That's probably the door Everett mentioned. We still need to get the key from this manana first, though.
Понятно. То есть пока ничего хорошего. Пока ничего хорошего.
A stone, like any other, lying in a whirl of sleet and mud. Maybe there's something under it. There's a key beneath it, rusty from the dirt.
Ooh.
This must be for the front door. Pity it doesn't have the apartment number on it. This building has hundreds of apartments. We'll just have to go in and see.
Хе-хе-хе, ну пошли. Да. Шли к тетушке рассказать про наркотики, а завернули направо. И у нас тут какие-то терки. Ну, он как свидетель, да, его надо обязательно опросить. Можно было даже подойти к нему раньше, я просто не думал. Мы когда начали играть, мне очень боялся подходить ко всем, типа, вдруг какой-нибудь проверки начнутся, на которые я не смогу ничего сделать, и мы просто упустим какие-то зацепки. Сейчас не так страшно говорить со всеми. Такая здесь музыка совсем другая. Очки новые. Что дают? Логику добавляют, но убирают авторитет. А у меня что дают очки? Убирают драму, но добавляют анализ. Блин, логика, авторитет. А у меня логика 4, авторитет 6. Можно выровнять их, в принципе, сейчас. Анализ у меня 5, но будет меньше. Нет, анализ я бы хотел оставить. Логика и авторитет у меня нормально, типа, неплохо так работают. Чтобы не стучаться в двери. Храп. Окей. О, здесь просто открыто. А, это общественный... О, нет, мы нашли бухло. Надо его продать будет. Немножко денег. Надеюсь, я могу продать бухло, потому что оно мне не нужно. Я не буду пить.
This door has been closed with a padlock. A chalk-drawn number on the board says number 11.
Постучать.
No reply.
Нифига себе постучал.
It's a solid lump of metal, but the shackle is deeply corroded. A solid pair of chain cutters would make short work of it. Better whip out those cutters. You won't get very far otherwise.
Болторезом расхреначить. А какое мы имеем право лезть в чужую квартиру? Давай-ка это. 6 рублей нашел. Ничего себе. Открытку нашел.
You hear someone walking around inside, rearranging the furniture. The walking stops abruptly, but no one comes to the door. You can feel tension on the other side. Sounded like a woman. A woman's shoes.
Who is this? Do I have to open the door? Do you have a warrant? I'm not obligated to open the door if you don't have a warrant.
Ну, тоже верно.
Let's go. We don't have a reason to get inside that apartment.
It's generally easier to do things if you have literally any reason.
Ладно. Ну вот мы сейчас спросим. Может, она что знает? Ну-ка, говори.
Give me a moment. The cold never does any good for my bronchitis. I'm fine. Fine. Don't you worry about me.
You're still worried. It's very worrying.
Now, what do you want from me, policeman?
She's the cleaning lady. She knows the floor plan and the residence.
Кто вы?
I'm no one. Just an old woman who cleans these hallways. If you could call it living. I have a little room upstairs right next to the coal room.
Понятно.
It's barely bigger than a closet. But I don't complain, no. I have my bed and my aching bones to keep me company. And that's all I need from this world.
She hasn't spoken to anyone for a while. Even her sentences feel rusty.
Потом про пацана спросим.
Ask away, policeman. The artiste? Nothing I can do about her, I'm afraid. She ruins the walls faster than I can clean them. Still, she leaves an old lady to her business. More than I can say for others. Oh, that one is a scientist, a future scholar. I think he studies astrology at the community college. Education's good. I always tell them to study. Something to do with all those stars around his door. He asked me to leave his drawings up on the wall. That's what I said. Astrology.
Астрологию. Изучает астрологию.
The lieutenant shakes his head, as though to say, "Let it go."
Забей. Да, Кицураги, просто забей.
Come on, people. Try to keep up any standards here. It's not about stars. It's... forget it.
No one lives there. It's been empty for months. Impossible. I would know if someone had moved in there. Maybe it's those countercultural people again, breaking into a house like it's a public space. You're a policeman. Be good and take a look, will you? Great. Young people.
Задание.
They're worse than rats. You know, always littering the hallways with trinkets and empty beer cans. People come and go. I don't keep an eye on everyone.
Следишь или не следишь все-таки?
They probably just moved or died, hopefully somewhere else.
Oh, no. Yes, yes. I know who you mean. The scrawny boy who's always smoking like the devil, right?
Somewhere in the building, a child starts crying. You hear a radio tuned to a talk show and someone taking a shower.
Нифига у него слух.
What's he in trouble for? Talk?
Я также смеюсь иногда.
What was so funny about that?
He lives upstairs in room 28.
Вот
Go to the balcony. It's one of those doors there. He's usually home in the evening.
Thank you. We should go check out his apartment on the balcony. See if he's home.
Спасибо. Книга. У нас появилась книга. Ай. Еще у нас открытка, которую можно будет продать. А что за книга? Ну, короче, у нас появилось чтиво. Неплохо. Коротать время самое то. Кто-то пробил стену. Лекарства. Немножко денег. Ладно, понятно. Балкон. Ну, пойдемте на балкон. Потом посмотрим там 10-ю квартиру и женщина, которая там не должна была быть в квартире, потому что там никто не живет уже давно. Сначала с пацаном, потом все остальное. Ну и по пути еще, если что-то можно зацепить, к пацану зацепим. Блин, музыка чудесная. О, привет. Чё, как дела?
Ooh, the piggies have learned how to saunter up staircases. I didn't think you could do that with hooves. But here you are. Yeah, you got me now. The dynamic between us has completely changed.
That smell coming from her paint bucket. It's not paint. It's heavy fuel oil.
Red-dyed heavy fuel oil, intended for exclusive use in government vehicles, to be precise.
What did you think I was using? Aquarels? Sucked it out of a cop's fuel tank myself. Back in Jamrock.
she really did it. She's proud of it too.
You ain't seen nothing yet, Piggy Boo.
Да иди нахер. Я прям чувствую, как я проваливаюсь с ней постоянно все. Блин, деньги-то копятся зря, наверное, книг нет. Книгу я купил не зря, книга нам нужна.
Ruination has come. The broken arches betray the once grand history of this building. It towered over the harbor until it happened. A great force from the northeast fired into the city. Heavy artillery shelled the coastline, fired from the water, a straight shot into Revachol. The tenement acted as a defensive wall against the worst of the shelling until it was destroyed, and they had a direct firing line. The waves of the Martinez Inlet rolled over the fallen remains of the building. The dark waters obscured the better part of the remains. What didn't fall into the ocean was used as scrap. What wasn't used as scrap was thrown into the ocean. Those arches acted as support for something greater than what you see now. Only 3 stories stand where 9 to 12 once did. Restoration has failed. What the shelling took out was never rebuilt. A fleet, the combined armies of Occident and Grad, with Mesk volunteers, a 5-nation army, hundreds of vessels. They massed airships further down in the Bay of Revachol. The artillery was so powerful. The ships not only required gyroscopic stabilization, they were anchored into the ocean floor as well. Many are still there to this day. If you squint, you can just barely see the shadow on the water, far in the northeast. Cannons still ready to placate Revachol.
Нифига себе. Круто.
The coalition. But that was a long time ago. I think we should move on. It's chilly up here.
He does not like talking politics of this kind.
Ну ладно. Может, хватит денег на пожить еще, да? Надо через другой балкон идти, я понял. Там другой был еще в начале самом. Вчера, типа, обсуждал с братом игру, ну вот эту, он прошел я все время, вот, и что-то спрашивает такой меня. Вернее, я его спрашиваю, ты, говорю, к Эрару ходил? Он говорит, вообще я почти всю, ну, типа, я к нему не ходил, я раскрыл все дело, не ходя к нему. Когда я к нему пришел, я был под наркотой, у меня были, типа, очень сильные характеристики, и когда он сказал, садись на стул, я его просто, говорит, так обосрал, что он, типа, отвалил от меня. Вот. Мы совсем... Ого, рабочие джинсы. И немножко денег. Мне уже почти хватает. Это здесь бабушка спит рядом с угольным этим или нет? Надеюсь, нет. Надеюсь, здесь Синди спит. Когда читаешь, время летит. Так, я хотел поставить джинсы. Скорость реакции падает. Вырастает электрохимия. У нас скорость реакции так, наверное, 0, да? Да. Кстати, а почему у меня эти перчатки? Можно же пока надеть вот эти перчатки. Понятно. Ничего мне не нравится по одежде. И в джинсах как-то ходить. С туфлями не будет смотреться. Это ужасно безвкусица. Джинсы. Синие джинсы с туфлями. Ладно, там еще какие-нибудь черные приталенные узкие джинсы с туфлями нормально можно сочетать с некоторыми. Но никак не синие джинсы и зеленые носатые туфли для диско из крокодиловой кожи. Никак нет. Только клеш. Брюки. Желтые. Горчичные скорее даже. Точно я больше ничего не могу сказать.
Give me a moment.
Нет, простите, что отвлек вас от вашей работы.
You hear someone walking around inside.
Excuse me? Of course not.
There's no sweet talking your way in there. Be official. You have plenty of reason to enter.
Oh, come on.
Well, that was easy.
That was smart.
Неплохо, неплохо. Так, что у тебя? Обувь, спасибо. Вот это, кстати, очень странно. Типа, я могу забрать все, что угодно, и мне ничего. О, фу, в матрасе насекомое. Какой ужас. Мне нужно посмотреть на эти черные туфли теперь. Блин, они выглядят очень стильно. Чего? У меня нет таких характеристик. У меня нет таких характеристик. Нет, мне нужны мои крокодильчики. Эти, конечно, красивые туфли с пряжками. Но с джинсами просто отврат. Ладно, давай разговаривать. Ты кто такая?
Satisfied? My name is Marielle Charpentier, and I'm an agent with Martinez Realty Associates. I am not breaking in, as I have every right to be here. The keys, see?
Her voice is really cheerful, despite her obviously hating you.
Do you want to see my ID as well? You can't legally ask for it, but why not? Want to see my residence permit too?
Показывай.
It feels flimsy in hand, with the words Revachol Zone of Control written under a nondescript municipal logo. There's a picture of her with shorter hair inside, along with all her personal details.
Thank you. Do you have any questions? I need to be back in Midtown in an hour.
Что здесь делать?
I need to get it ready for the next lease, but as you can see, the previous tenant completely trashed the place.
Кто здесь жил?
It was some kind of a moribund old man who used to be a business owner. You'd think they'd make rent.
Понятно.
A sudden serious look crosses her face. This story didn't have a happy ending.
But that was months ago. Anyway, was there anything you wanted, or is that it? I'm in a hurry. Oh, that's another huge mess. The former tenant owes us 3 months of rent. 3. We closed the apartment and planned on auctioning off the valuables, but...
No.
And again, I have no idea how stupid mistakes like this can even happen. But Ron, when he came to close the door, didn't close the neighboring door. And there's a hole in the wall. A hole in the wall. Can you believe it? And then the tenant ran off with his stuff. He's gone. The money's gone. Just like that.
The sum must have been puny. Oh, it irks her. The incompetence.
These apartments are perfectly fine. They have gorgeous architecture, a million real view of the bay, good ventilation, neighbors, life, spark, and they are affordable. I'll tell you, Martinez has a future. In a few years, it's going to blossom with artists and creatives and those radio computer wizards.
It's as if they're real wizards, able to resurrect dead real estate and breathe life into bank accounts.
Don't ask me what happened with the wall. I have no idea how we're going to find the time or resources to fix it. Both apartments are now unrentable. Both.
Понятно.
Of course.
Пойди бабушке сказать, что тут на самом деле произошло. Кто она такая? Надо сказать, не надо?
Give me a moment. I see. I hope some good people are finally going to move in. This place needs them.
Нет, я уверен, что все будет в порядке.
Yes. Well, I hope they're good people.
Your statements are too vague to comment on.
Эх, надо было бред какой-нибудь сказать, ну ладно. Не в этой игре.
This door has been closed with a padlock.
А сколько шансов с монтировкой у меня? Я смотрю, Ким не сильно против. Наверное. А, у меня уже монтировка в руке. Ой. Ох, ох. Не трогай красного командора. То есть я с монтировкой не могу все равно вскрыть, да?
This door has been closed with a padlock.
Ну ладно, не будем трогать. Чё?
That isn't just a 5-pointed star. It's an inverted white pentagram cradled in a wreath of antlers. The iconography of communism, in other words.
Смотреть
The
символ.
star and antlers was developed in the 6th decade of the last century and quickly adopted by Mezov and the communards during the revolution.
Студент, значит, говорите?
Even today, half a century after, the star and antlers retains the ability to evoke hope, disappointment, and fear in equal measure. To symbolize the toppling of the old order. Also, some social democrats were already using it. Because white is the color of peace. Nothing at all yet. Right now, it's just meaningless shapes on a wall.
Ну я же не коммунист. Так, ладно, пойдемте на балкон. Наконец-то. На тот самый балкон. Интересно, где мой ствол и мои документы? Очень хочется их найти. Тут закрыто. В данный момент.
This door is made of metal and appears to be reinforced. Someone here really values their security. Number 28. This is where the cleaning lady said the smoker on the balcony lives.
Let's see if anyone's home. Knock on the door.
Подожди. Ну, стучать мы не будем, да? А, музыка. Окей, ладно.
This door is made of metal. Number 20. No one answers.
Looks like the young man we are looking for isn't home. I think our best chance to catch him is in the evening. We should return tomorrow after we have finished with our day's work. How about 9 p.m.? Sound good?
Хорошо, завтра.
Tomorrow, 9 p.m., right here. Apartment number 28. Good, let's go.
Damn. Turns out it's quite tricky finding someone in a big apartment building. Don't worry. You'll get him. Remember, tomorrow. He's probably gone for today.
Это так звучало сейчас, фраза. Сегодня ты его не встретишь, как будто бы попробуй сегодня сходить в 21:00, после 21:00 один. Без Кима. Вообще, типа, без Кима можно тут тоже много чего поделать. Но я не хочу. Мне нужно плечо поддержки. Кто еще пристрелит меня в ночном переулке кто-нибудь. Страшно подумать, сколько вариаций тут есть всяких диалогов, в зависимости от того, какие у тебя навыки прокачаны и какие выборы ты делаешь. Слишком большая реиграбельность, ну или не слишком большая, просто непривычно. Я хочу попробовать через другой выход выйти. Как раз попасть к женщине, к этой... Какие? Жанет. Ох, что это память на имена. Не забывайте отдыхать, поговорить с новыми людьми, исследовать мир. А я занимаюсь. Или что, как вы там?
Yes, my eyes on the harbour have sent word to that effect. What have you discovered? It doesn't really matter, and I do apologize for the surveillance. Wild Pines can't afford to be blind at a time like this.
One of the tall buildings overlooking the roundabout, most likely. That would give them a read on the entire quarter.
In any case, it's a relief to know someone has looked into it. If I may ask, will there be an official investigation? I assume you discovered there is an operation.
She's trying to conceal her excitement, but the slight glimmer in her green eyes tells you otherwise. The lieutenant is about to interject. Cut him off. This decision should be yours.
Я позволил лейтенанту. Пошел ты нафиг, авторитет. Или нет? Или да? Нет, давай-ка я сам.
Exactly. But what?
I've kept my eye on the Camionneurs. Even tried to get to know one. It's a mystery I'm already invested in. Which one of them, if any, could organize such a complex operation?
Я не буду пока с ней делиться информацией.
Okay. I thank you for sharing that much with me. My employer thanks you as well. In any case, you've held up your end of our arrangement. Now it's my turn. I wouldn't normally break protocol like this, but the situation demands it. If you don't solve this murder, I'm afraid we may have a bloodbath on our hands.
The words bloodbath sound cold in her mouth. They taste of iron and strawberries.
Вы сказали резня?
Yes. I'm afraid this strike may descend into a small-scale civil war, with possible consequences for all of Rivershoal West.
Жесть.
Since you are sharing, man, this is also the RCM's worst-case scenario.
Then we're on the same page, as grim as it may be. I have an indirect role to play, I'm sad to say. My employer experienced a momentary lapse of faith in me. In that moment, they elected to deploy a private military contractor as an insurance measure. They called it my security detail. They were dispatched after I relayed the union's initial offer.
Every worker...
A member of the board. I tried to convince my employer it was simply a piece of rhetoric, or a joke. They did not appreciate the humor. Absolutely not. These mercenaries are muscle, pure and simple. They are meant to intimidate the Union into surrendering.
Who are they, exactly?
Crenell, an Oranese military company. As far as I know, 3 arrived in Martinez. They report to me sporadically, but they do not answer to me. To be frank, our relationship is deteriorating. They wear ceramic armor, have semi-automatic weapons, and years of combat experience. They also have trauma and stressor disorder, and no idea how to conduct themselves in an urban civilian environment.
Понятно.
So, what happened?
The story is, one of them, the Colonel, I don't know his real name, sexually assaulted a local woman while he was drunk and separated from his unit. This allowed some of the more militant Union members to subdue him. He was taken out behind the whirling in rags and lynched last Sunday night. Nothing. Mr. Clare refuses to let me into the harbour. I have not been able to discuss this matter with anyone there. The remaining 2 Crenell contractors carry out their orders, for now. It's a smokescreen. In secret, they are conducting an independent military tribunal into the lynching. Once this investigation is concluded, executions will follow.
Ого.
What is the nature of this so-called investigation?
Whether to execute one, some, or all of the Union militants.
Это вообще не
It is
диско.
very far from disco. My only hope is that you provide a single, concrete suspect before the mercenaries indiscriminately pick theirs. Simply put, if you don't pin this on someone good and do it fast, they will identify and execute everyone present at the lynching. This in turn will force the Union to respond.
Понятно.
They would have to project strength and power.
The débardeurs have over 2,000 men. It will be 1,000 to 1.
Have you ever seen a Hornet invade a beehive, Lieutenant? It's not pretty. These men work in tandem using semi and fully automatic firearms. Their armor is virtually impenetrable to muzzle-loaded weapons, even yours. Most Union workers don't have guns at all. As I said, a bloodbath. Many bleak scenarios have already come true. Nameless, badgeless detective of the citizens' militia. All we can do is keep the rest from going the same way. One single concrete suspect delivered into civil court, and I may be able to defuse this situation. Not much. Their public resume is relatively good, as far as private military contractors go. I believe they were once called Downwell.
Down a deep black well.
По-моему, что-то... А нам про рацию, про броню, не про эту ли фирму
They
говорили?
boast a long list of clients. Saint-Baptiste, Welchman Lorenz, Eintracht. A warning sign, however. The operations concerned all take place in third or fourth world countries. Guarding facilities, escort missions and such.
Meaning they're used to operating in war zones.
Yes. All the good conflict corridors, Supramundi, Yesut, the Seminese Islands, countries that don't have a good record reporting atrocious military conduct on their soil. Sadly, no. Before this happened, I had little interest in them. Now that I do, I don't have the resources. If you still have access to the ICP's database, you could run a better background check than I ever could. It may take some time, though.
Да, позвоним обязательно.
Do you know a lot about the inner workings of the RCM and the ICP, ma'am?
In my line of work, it pays to do your research. I was prepared to deal with the RCM. I did not think I'd be dealing with a group like Crenell. I have. And they will. However, these orders take time to reach what is basically a rogue unit out in the field here. Until they do, it's all on us.
Понятно.
Or he didn't. This is information passed on to me from some teenagers loitering around the canal. I cannot testify by it. That the man was killed because he assaulted a local woman. I've asked around a bit. This seems to be the accepted story around Martinez.
The lieutenant consults his notebook, his eyebrows knitted in concentration.
Odd. We haven't heard any reports about an assault in connection with the lynching. Where did it take place? And when?
Ну так просто нам никто не сообщал об этом.
Last Sunday night, at the Whirling in Rags, the hostel by the gates. Supposedly, the colonel was drunk, maybe on narcotics too.
Надо позвонить бывшей работнице барменше этого заведения, которого мы обидели, и поговорить с
Either
ней.
way, he's alleged to have sexually assaulted a woman. Sometime later, a group of dock workers got their hands on him. That's a good question, officer. I don't have the slightest idea. As I said, it's a rumor about a rumor. In any case, it's what the colonel's remaining colleagues believe.
You'll meet her soon enough, you feel.
If you mean did I see him alive, yes. But I did not know him.
You don't know how you know. It's not written on her face, nor in her voice, but she had sympathy for this man.
Liked is a bit strong. He was the most charismatic among them. He handled all the talking. His departure left a major gap in the group's communication skills. Lely, his service name, a nom de guerre most likely. He wouldn't divulge his full name. Only one of them did. A bad sign if there ever was one. One is a man, Corty, they call him, a nickname as well. The other a woman, Phyllis DePaul. Corty is the gunner, I believe. DePaul is a radio operator.
What would you say was his eye color, the deceased's?
She closes her eyes, trying to picture the man's face, then shakes her head.
I can't remember.
The lieutenant was testing her, asking a small detail first to see if she knew him better than she let on. She passed.
That's all right, man. Anything else? Nationality? What would you say was his age?
He was 40. Or 50. It's hard to say which. He had a combat injury on his lower jaw. It made it difficult to estimate his age, or gauge his facial expressions.
What else? Nationality? Accent?
He was, Occidental, I think. Light brown hair, a mixed accent, Oranese, or Messinian, maybe. His injury gave him an accent all his own. In a way, it was humanizing. He had to learn to speak through it. Through the injury. That's all I know, I guess. I only met him once. They've gone to ground, as it were. I don't recommend seeking them out. For one, they're almost certainly armed to the teeth. They don't have the same respect for the Revachol citizens' militia as I do. To put it bluntly, they think you're vigilantes. Ghetto savages. It will not be a fruitful meeting.
Vigilantes. You're a professional officer of the only legitimate authority in Revachol.
Somehow, I doubt that lecturing them on the legitimate use of force will persuade them to stand down. You're likely to run into them eventually. When that happens, I'll be in a better position to mediate if I don't appear involved.
Красная проверка на 72 сейчас.
This is so embarrassing. You have no idea. There's something wrong with your brain. Luckily, the lieutenant still has his.
Ma'am, with all due respect, I've been around Martinez, and there's a giant hulk of a man in ill-fitting clothes at the harbor gates. Mr. Right to Work. His heart really isn't in it.
Not a terribly good actor, that one. Still.
То есть тот мужик, который... Прикольно.
And the other one, the Pole, must be in one of the 4-story buildings overlooking the roundabout. She was reporting back to you while we were canvassing the lorry drivers.
That would afford a good vantage point.
Как хорошо, что Кицураги со мной.
I hope you heed my advice. There's no need to kick the hornet's nest.
Ну, посмотрим.
Until the executions start? Truthfully, I don't know. It depends on their progress identifying the members of the lynch mob and their impatience.
They don't report their progress to you?
Not on this matter. I'm afraid they consider this a personal initiative.
5 days, not more. Maybe sooner.
Ты чё гонишь? Какие 5 дней?
It's a matter of days, not weeks. I am sorry to have been the bearer of bad news. If there is anything else I can help you with, please ask. Of course. Excuse my hesitation before.
For about half a minute, in silence.
It was taken with a frigate not long ago. This is the man's upper body. There were no more markings on his hands or legs.
Her mouth is relaxed. The accordion lines near her mouth vanish. The pearls of her eyes move slowly on the photo's surface. She has no excess of emotions for this cadaver. Has she seen dead bodies before? It's likely.
Sorry. I was trying to see if I can read the web of interdependencies between these points. The stars. I can't. But that's how you read this story. The points themselves don't have letters, numbers, anything. Their size, location on the body, and distance from each other tells you what they represent. Close. Port cities. This is an Oronese map of the waterways, a sailor's tattoo worn by wayfarers of the Dolorian century. Over 300 years ago, the sailors would mark their bodies to map their travels. The sailor's soul would use it to fly back home if they should die abroad. This is a sort of contraption to be reeled back in by. The silver cord, they would call it.
Серебряная пуповина, Death Stranding какой-то.
Where is he now?
That is precisely what the sailors feared when they drew these maps. A fear of drowning within one's own corpse. Quite a few. Vredefort, the Oronese capital, traditionally stands on the right shoulder. He started somewhere near here, I think.
What next?
Then he made his way to the Pretto Grande, through what I think must be the Stutz Canal, an artificial channel through the Occident. From the Pretto, he sailed to the Insulindic Ocean, first the Semines Islands, then this.
Сердце.
Revachol. Those are the two constants. Vredefort on the shoulder, and Revachol in the heart. They started the tradition of these maps right after the discovery of Insulinde, at the dawn of the Inter-Isolary Age.
The old world passing by, and the new world already here.
You said you can't read it.
I can't. This man was no sailor, and these are no ports. I can understand geographic fragments, but not their meaning.
Somewhere in an office lit by a single green desk lamp, Captain Ptolemaeus Price, 58, bald and bespectacled, is writing in a ledger on his desk. Rows and rows of days and weeks, laconic remarks in a single column. Patrol, case, vacation, injured. In Martinez, looking into Krenel, he writes in one. Then the man puts down his pen and rubs his temples with both hands. Outside, there is a siren. Distant gunshots on the streets of the Jamrock Quarter.
That makes sense to me. We have no more use for a map of the waterways, just like we don't need sailors the way we used to. This is what the custom would morph into on the Occident. Mercenary tattoos.
For all the boys looking for adventure, a blood spatter on the seas.
His platoon members? The other contractors. Though I do not suggest you go and show them that picture. This man was their friend and comrade.
It could go this or the other way. Maybe if you're tactful, it could be beneficial.
Do what you have to do, Detective. I don't think deciphering that tattoo should come before public security. But if you should wade into the mob to find out, I couldn't stop you.
We will be careful, ma'am.
Is there anything else I can help you with?
What's this? We're getting reports of normal, reasonable, temperate, political opinions somewhere in Martinez.
Так, еще раз. Okay.
The air suddenly feels calmer, more transparent in a strangely tender way. Perhaps it's the hangover. Perhaps it's a temporary surge of serotonin. But something tells you it's time to become a citizen of the Kingdom of Conscience.
Я стану. Расскажи мне, но только расскажи мне.
It is not a place. It is a moment in time that can only arise in the right circumstances. In all of human history, it's only been achieved a handful of times. Incrementally. History's greatest catastrophes have been brought about by people trying to make the world a better place. Too quickly. That's the genius of Dolores Day. She recognized that progress is meaningless if its gains are lost because of instability. Real, lasting change can only come about gradually, increment by increment. Tisk tisk. Just because you live in the present doesn't mean you have the right to place your needs above the needs of the future. You may never live to see the kingdom of conscience. Your children may not. Even your grandchildren might not. But that's no excuse not to keep working.
Понятно.
What rationality? What sang-froid? What benevolence? Do you believe the status quo is preferable to chaos and bloodshed?
Возможно.
There you have it. Sometimes holding the line is progress. The kingdom is difficult to comprehend and even more difficult to describe.
Конечно. Утопия всегда так, да?
Partly because humanity will need to discard many of the categories that define and limit it today. The kingdom of conscience is post-capitalist, post-national.
Посткапиталистическое, постнациональное. Неплохо.
It's also post-industrial, post-ideological, and even post-sexual.
Ну, я бы, конечно, жил настоящим, но пофиг. Погнали.
Slow down, Mr. Reasonable. Did you miss the part about compromising and taking things slow? That's right. Remember, real democracy is just around the corner for Revachol. When that real democracy kicks in, a long time from now, we are all going to be so much happier.
У меня появилась новая мысль. Ничего себе. Поболтали, да? Пока я буду думать мысль, будет -2 к сумраку. Будем усваивать. Все равно сумраком не пользуюсь. И у меня уровень, я вот думаю. А я типа могу сюда бахнуть? И чё? Или не могу? Нет, не могу. Восприятие 5, 6. Даже не знаю. В эмпатию, что ли, еще бахнуть? Или выравнивать навыки к 6 все остальные. Или замаксить эмпатию. Вообще просто. Хочу замаксить эмпатию. Так, у нас 1,5 часа. Я готов полчаса еще точно поиграть. Ирина, как вы? Ну давайте еще какой-нибудь диалог с кем-нибудь сейчас. Ну или парочку. Надеюсь, засыпать не от скуки, а от умиротворения. Так, еще почитаем журнал. Что у нас сейчас есть? У нас сейчас есть... А, я знаю, мы пойдем звонить в это, в 57-й участок или 41-й, какой там, 57-й, по-моему. Короче, звонить в участок, узнавать про организацию. И звонить барменше.
Inside, you see a set of steering.
This is Precinct 57. How may I assist you?
Так, ладно.
Just a second, officer.
Про организацию нельзя позвонить, но можно.
Sylvie Malaika on the line for your office. Yes, hello? Oh, great. What else do you need, detective? Yes, I know who you are. You're a police officer.
Yeah, I think she got it. Good job.
You told me back in the whirling. You told everybody.
Я понял. Ладно, я буду...
I don't need to hear about it anymore. Oh, no, I haven't, sorry.
Real policemen have uniforms too, by the way. Where's yours?
Нету никакой формы.
He's in plain clothes, voluntarily. It's different from not knowing where your uniform is. There are officers who wear the signature Perseus black uniforms to the highest ranks in the RCM and end up buried in them as well. Others do it more casually. Looks like you're one of them.
Ну ладно.
Uniform? I never saw you in any uniform. You had your things on. The disco things.
Somewhere in a dank rental apartment, two police officers stand in the dark. Trash and liquor bottles cover the floor. Things are not good. One of the men, trying not to slip on old newspapers, makes his way to the window and pulls the curtains apart. Roaches scatter as the light comes in. God damn. Officer Michelle Elfboy Williams speaks to himself. His partner, Sundance Fisher, looks at the patrol uniform he's wearing, then at an identical suit frame on the wall. It's blue and covered in dust. Let's get the fuck out of there. He turns to Williams. He hasn't been here in days.
А вы не видели мой пистолет?
Please, no. Not this again. Everyone saw your cool gun, detective.
У него посттравматический синдром после моего присутствия там.
You were trying to impress some people with it. Everyone was eating and... You were waving it around in everyone's face, begging them to describe it. You said it calms you, and then you started making suicide jokes. It got pretty graphic.
I remember this. You were screaming things like, "My brains are all over the wall, painting them red. I won't be seeing it, 'cause these are my brains. I can't see without my brains." Very nice visuals there. Some poor sod was trying to eat his pudding while you were screaming, spit flying, imitating the mercy shot right next to him. Spat some in his food. I don't think he touched it after. There is silence on the other end of the line.
Me neither.
Понятно.
No idea. All I know is next you were waving around money instead, saying things like big bucks cannot lie and guns can't buy money, but money can always buy guns. It almost looked like you pawned it, but believe me, I did not ask. You mean, why did I leave the bar? Honestly, I'm not really comfortable discussing it with you, sir.
Я, по-моему, это тыкал, нет?
Why not?
Let's just say I left because I needed to get away from someone. You know whom?
You think you hear a sliver of accusation in her words.
Да, она меня не хотела больше видеть.
I really don't want to talk about this. Let's just forget about this, okay? Maybe, I don't know.
Нет, короче, ничего не узнал ни о том, что случилось в воскресенье. Очень жаль.
You hear the call breaking up on the other end of the radio, and then...
Anything else I can help you with, officer?
Может, что-нибудь пацанам своим сказать?
Right. Please hold.
Stanford, come in. Fireworker.
Ладно, мне ничего нового там не дай, иди нафиг. Понятно. Не хочу идти с пацанами разговаривать вообще. У меня... надо пойти продать бутылку алкоголя и... Что-то там еще можно было бы продать. Может, денег хватит. И закончим на сегодня. Ну, вперед. Вперед, вперед. Задумался что-то. Хочется попеть песенки. Но не уверен, что получится. Раньше здесь не горело.
Wow, a very large red t-shirt with an impressive print stands out from the other garb. Oh yeah, the print depicts a muscled man striding toward you, a giant sword in each hand, encircled by burning embers. Behind him is a cluster of cabins engulfed in flames. Beneath him are the words, Hjelmdal burning. Smells like worn cotton and a little old sweat there. Worn cotton with a side of flea market or trash bin.
Sniffing is okay, but please don't try anything on. Can't have you leaving your photon emissions in the fabric of things you're not going to buy.
You're not imagining it. Photon emissions? What is he talking about?
It's the man from Hendal.
Walking away from his burning village, yes.
Their matter-of-fact tone belies their surprise at the fact that you didn't recognize the figure in the print.
Huh? Oh, I see. That's tough, man. I feel the same way sometimes. The man from Hjelmdal is the hero of a series of popular books based on a fictional version of Kotla. In fact, most people don't think that man from Hjelmdal ever really existed, but they are wrong.
Hendal isn't a real place.
Сроки такой, типа, это, логичность.
Neither is the man a real man, of course. But both the man and Hjelmdal are an ontological necessity. But hey, it's not worth getting into an argument about.
Wow. What?
I mean, even if the man from Hjelmdal didn't exist before the adventure novels, the stories have made it so that he has. It's simple, really.
Понятно.
Okay.
You sound skeptical. It's not that complicated. All that's required is a more robust understanding of cause and effect. Besides, I've been to Kotla, though not quite as far north as the Hjelmdal, and watched northern lights travel across the sky. Very unique, energetic tides there.
His theory isn't exactly incoherent, but its logic does suggest some unusual neural activity. Interesting.
Он сидит на чем-то, что ли?
Very, very unique energies indeed. Geomagnetic ley lines, one might even say.
2 real.
That's dirt cheap.
But why? I deal in goods, not services.
Ой, давай футболку. Хочу
Welcome to
футболку.
Hjelmdal, officer.
Я эксцентричный. Ого. Но с галстуком не идет. И уж очень сильно по авторитету бьет. Вот так-то можно грубую силу не лихо так поднять. Футболка. Что там еще? Вот эта футболка. Можно электрохимию поднять. Так, так. И теперь по статам у меня электрохимия H4, да? И трепет 4. Неплохо. Сумрак 0, но это потому что я думаю о том, что это плохо. Вернее, я думаю там мысли, которые сумрак убирают. Интересно, интересно.
The pockets of these new jeans are perfect for sticking your hand into. Makes you look cool, calm, and collected. As your hand enters the pocket, your fingers brush against something, soft, yet crinkly. Hey, it's a chewing gum wrapper. It reminds you of the fruity juice of apricots. You should inspect it closer if you have time. Something about the wrapper's texture is familiar.
Что? А шмотки-то не это не вредно надевать, я смотрю. A
crinkled chewing gum wrapper. The worn label reads Tutti Frutti. It smells faintly of apricots with a barely noticeable twinge of cinnamon. Good question. There is no answer or secret phrase written on the inside of the wrapper. Yet you're drawn to it. Drawn by regret. Stop before you hurt yourself with a Tutti Frutti wrapper. Throw it away, please. You carefully fold the wrapper into a square before putting it back into your pocket, lovingly even, despite the strange feeling of regret.
Очень странно. Ладно, пусть хлам хранится. А чё я еще не примерял? Потому что не примерял. Такой я урод. Ну тут по карманам ничего не стукает, да, ладно. Нарядимся обратно в нашу нормальную одежду. Сумрак мне не нужен. А это что дает? Электрохимия. То есть это добавляет электрохимия на минус эквилибристики, а это минус скорость реакции. Нет, мне нужна скорость реакции. Так, тут техника, а тут электрохимия. Я просто хочу послушать некоторые электрохимические слова. Так, наденем наш крутой. Наденем наш крутой. Что там у нас? Плащ. Рубашку нашу. Очечки наши. Так. Ну все, вроде вернулся обратно. Выгляжу, конечно, я просто ужасно. А что там с идеей? Долго еще думаться будет? Все. Час. Ладно, может он чиновника мне хочет
Hello
сказать?
again. How can I help you?
О, электрохи.
Feeling warm and enthralled by the movement of light, while the mind continues to race forward. Lucky bastard. He's probably on Pyrrolidone. It's tough to come by on the street. A drug developed by the military to treat and prevent radiation sickness. It has psychedelic side effects, and it makes your eyes turn yellow.
I try to keep the shop at a comfortable temperature.
There's a note of indignation in his voice. Interesting. Those triangle patches on his vest, you have a feeling they mean something, like they're similar to the halogen rectangle on your jacket.
I was with the Emergency Relief Brigade. You know, after the People's Pile disaster. Had to take Pyrrolidone for radiation sickness. That's what you were hinting at just now, wasn't it?
He's taken for mental and emotional, not physical pain these days.
Народный котел, что такое?
A bad idea. Some poor leftist built a particle decay generator in hopes of bringing affordable electricity to underserved communities. It malfunctioned. Radioactive waste everywhere. Probably some of it in you too. We were an all-volunteer force, self-organized. Tried to help the fire brigades contain the spill.
On the patch, gamma radiation lines crossed with a red drop of blood.
I lived by the river since I was a small boy. The Esperance. Didn't have the art to let it all go to shit without trying to do something to help out. There wasn't much the volunteer force could do, however. We wasted years in the river mud. Years getting sick. There's a reason why everyone's tried to forget any of it ever happened. And why no one has tried to repair or replace the pile. So much disappointment. And early deaths. Cancer mostly. And we knew all that was coming even as we were cleaning up as best we could. No one's. Everyone's.
So much bitterness.
A bunch of poor people built themselves a primitive nuclear reactor, hoping for the best. What do you think is going to happen? The cleanup happened 15 years ago. I was young then. Later, my second aunt died. Left me this shack and all the assorted junk in it. So I came to Martinez. People told me don't go there. It's a shithole. I said, people, we just had a nuclear pile meltdown. I'm gonna get as far away from Forburg as I can. Still in the same city, but... I like the theory more than the story. Outward movement, not vortices.
Yeah, you gotta get in on those vortices, my man.
Have you tried it before?
It's almost like he's worried for you. The lieutenant steps away, pretending to admire some of the knickknacks on display. Looks like he doesn't want to get involved. Go ahead then, he thinks. As long as you can walk straight, I don't care.
If you say so. Here you go, man.
Зря взял. Кицураги только расстроил.
Yes, darling. That's the coalition government ordained parolidom. Straight into your gut. Not so sure about this.
Нет, не буду брать.
I respect your decision, officer. What else can I help you with?
Может, что-нибудь новое про пистолет?
Sure thing.
Нет, ничего нового.
Sure, man.
Да не взял наркоту Кицураги, успокойся. Тоже. А тут у нас
You
что
see
было?
rows of toy soldiers guarding the rest of the trinkets displayed on the table.
Техника
Some
надо.
on horseback.
Сейчас отойти. Перчатки мне. Перчатки дайте мне перчатки.
You see rows of toy soldiers guarding the rest of the trinkets displayed on the table.
С перчатками я уже
Some
пытался.
on horseback.
Точно. Ну, значит, не судьба. А зачем я в дурацкой шляпе? И вообще, откуда у меня шляпа? А у меня нет другой шляпы. А что эта шляпа делает? Риторику сбивает. Зато скорость реакции. Блин, риторика совсем упала. Хотелось бы 4 или 5 даже. А скорость реакции трешка. Да? Но мы не это. Мы без реакции. Мне нужна моя риторика. Если бы не риторика, я бы некоторые вещи бы не делал. Ладно. Вот теперь можно заканчивать. Все поделали. У нас... Сейчас подведем итоги. Нет, стоп, не подведем. Я же хотел попытаться ему продать всякий хлам. Попродать всякий хлам. Ладно, потом продам всякий хлам. 300 тысяч сообщений. Так, подводим итоги. Мы сегодня нашли пацана, курящего на крыше, на балконе, который владеет какой-то информацией, но не хочет почему-то говорить. Ну, типа, чтобы его стукачом не признали или еще что-нибудь в этом духе. Не суть. Мы обошли многоквартирный дом. Выполнили пару заданий. Мы дошли до квартиры этого парня, но его нету. К нему надо будет пойти завтра. Мы помогли бабушке понять, кто там еще копошится в квартире. Мы нашли кучу денег, грубо говоря, да. Купили футболку, купили книгу, нашли книгу. Поговорили с представителем этой компании торговой. Я все забываю название, имена. Вот. Теперь мы знаем, что в городе работают наемники. Мы даже знаем, кто они. Можем с ними теперь потрепаться. Можем потрепаться с убийцами. Еще надо с Куна по поводу брони и мусорки как-то договориться, но он вообще не идет на контакт ни в какую. Не знаю, что с ним делать. Вот, как-то так. Куча всего впереди еще. Так что неторопливо будем поглощать эту игру. До следующей встречи. Пока-пока.